Just let me try. Sure. All put it on GitHub. Okay. Just try one. If you have it on GitHub, then I think it's better we can get it. Okay, then I don't have it now. I have to upload. That's fine. Let me try.
Hello everyone, welcome to Next Suman Devnath, and I'm from Bangalore. I'm actually from Calcutta, but presently based out of Bangalore because of my workplace and all. So before we get into Ansible and Vagrant, have you heard this or anybody is using this in the day-to-day work? You're using anybody else? You're using it?
Started using.
Wow. Okay, cool. So, the reason I asked is, I came to know about this just maybe 1 month or so in one of the conference that happened in Bangalore. So, I also am not an expert on any of these, but I just thought to share this so that, when you go back home, you can explore this and see where you can use it in your day-to-day work. Because I felt that this is pretty nice when it comes to infrastructure deployment. Okay, so when I say infrastructure deployment is, let's say you are working for a company like Adobe Systems or maybe Flipkart or anybody, and they need to test their build every day and on different platforms, right? Maybe RHEL, any Mac OS or Windows or whatever. So there they used to ask for the infrastructure from the IT team, and they used to provision the system, and they used to give it to the software engineer, and then they used to test their build and then again release it. So there is a time gap between this whole process. So what this Vagrant and Ansible does is, without knowing much of your coding, and you can actually do a lot of things. Okay, so I'll try to make this two separate, but I just thought to put this together. This PPT is just for the backup purpose, so that you don't have to look at me. So, but the main thing is, what we will look into is we'll do a demo, okay, and we will see that how it is useful in our day-to-day work. So, to be very honest, these are not very industry ready till date. I'll tell you why, especially Vagrant. But Ansible is pretty much, used by all the companies like Twitter and even my own company. They are also working on it. Okay, so I will. I have a pen drive. I think pen drive. You may get one pen drive. There's a folder called Vagrant. Just copy it in your laptop if it is. If you have laptop or if it is allowed. If it is not, then I'll upload it to a GitHub, okay, and I'll share the link on the same page where, you know, in the PyCon, sorry, Delhi PyCon website, okay. I'll go through a demo, as we, I mean, PPT is just for the sake of putting something there, so I'll not pay much attention. So let me brief about Vagrant, what Vagrant is. So today, when you, let's say, if I ask you that, can you give me 5 Ubuntu machine, 5 Windows machine, or 5 RHEL machine, how will you do it? You need a hypervisor, and then you will provision the, you know, you'll put the DVD or ISO or whatever, then you will image it, then you will create the VMs, and then you will give it to me, right? So it will take time, and I'm also dependent on somebody else. So what Vagrant does is, Vagrant will do this automatically for you. You don't have to worry about, you know, going to the hypervisor, creating VMs, allotting storage or whatever. You can do it all together through Vagrant. Okay. So first place why I said this is not very industry ready is because this supports, as of today, they support VMware Workstation and Oracle VirtualBox. You are aware of these two? Oracle VirtualBox? Yeah? Everybody uses that? Yeah. So what we are going to do is, in our demo, we will have VirtualBox and we will have Vagrant installed. You can do the same once you go back home or here also. Then we will try to fire VMs through Vagrant without even going to VirtualBox. Okay? So this is what we are going to do from Vagrant, through Vagrant. So Vagrant is a software which will help you deploy your infrastructure. When I say infrastructure, it contains VMs, and it contains the network, it contains the storage, whatever, okay? And it's beyond, you know, deployment of VM. You can actually run some scripts after the installation, maybe. Let's say you want to install Ubuntu, and after that, you want to install 5 softwares on it, right? You can all do it in the same, you know, through Vagrant, by just editing one particular file, okay? We'll see that. So this is what Vagrant does, okay? This is what Vagrant will do in our lab. So, this, yes?
Is it all over VMs or does it also support containers like Docker?
Yeah. So as of today, no Dockers. It doesn't allow, you know, to create virtual, containers and all those stuff. At present, it just supports, you know, VirtualBox and VMware Workstation. Okay. Okay. So this is a purely CLI based. With 3 commands, you can actually fire up a VM. Okay, we'll see that now. So you can use it. There is no GUI for this, and this is you can. It has a support for Windows, Mac, and Ubuntu, or CentOS, I guess. So you, even if you have any of this platform, you can install it on your laptop or on your server, and then from there you can start creating VMs. So we'll see how it works. So to install Vagrant, you just have to go to the website. It's pretty simple. I have already downloaded it. So once you download Vagrant, what you have to do is, you have to create your own project. So when I say project, it's actually a directory. Okay, it's just you just have to create a directory, and whatever you do inside that directory would be restricted to that only. So let's say you are a developer and you are working on 2 different projects. Okay, project 1, project 2. So project 1 needs different kind of infrastructure. Project 2 needs different kind of infrastructure. So what you can do is you create a folder project 1, you create a folder project 2. So whatever you do in project 1 would not be visible to project 2. Okay. So whatever VMs you create in VM 1 would not be visible to project 2. Okay. So here what we will be doing in the demo also, we'll create a folder, we'll get inside the folder, and then we start the Vagrant stuff. Before that, your system should have Vagrant installed and VirtualBox or VMware Workstation. So I lately realized that even if you don't have VirtualBox, the moment you start Vagrant and the moment you first fire the first command, which we will discuss next, it actually pulls hypervisor if it is not installed in your laptop or your system. So intelligent. And so for the demo purpose, I already downloaded those images, and I'll tell you how it works. So Vagrant, you first install Vagrant, you first install your any of the hypervisor. For our demo, we will use VirtualBox, and then you come to your command prompt. Then you create any folder, and then just come to that folder, and then the first command that you have to run is Vagrant init, and there is some name. So what is that name? So this name is nothing but, in Vagrant term, this box, which is nothing but ISO in our hypervisor term. Like when you create a VM, you need to map an ISO, right? So here, Vagrant, they don't download the ISO. Okay, they download something called box, which is a stripped down version of ISO. So there is a website where you can go and download the box that you want. Okay, you want a Windows box, you want a Linux box, or whatever. You just go and search there and download it. So this is the Vagrant website. So when you go to box, here you will see all these fuzzy names. So I mean, you don't have to worry about all these names because these have been put up by different people. Okay, and you can actually later on you will see that you can actually create these boxes. Okay, and you can see from the download, how many people have downloaded that. So what you have to do is you simply have to just search of the system that you want to install or the VM that you want to have, right? So let's say I want an Ubuntu. I'll just say Ubuntu, and I can see that which is the version which has been downloaded more. So simply you just have to copy this. Okay, you just have to simply copy this, and your command prompt you have to in the command prompt you just have to say Vagrant init that particular name. So what this does is it actually initiate. Okay, so initialization. So what Vagrant first place do is it creates a Vagrant file inside that directory. Okay, and that is the only file which you have to play with. It has a configuration file, you can say, but that is the only file which you have to play with. To there only you have to mention how many VMs you want, then how many network connections you want, and all that. Okay, sure. If you have any trouble, then I think it's Wi-Fi username password. You can let's see if it is there. Everyone is connected, or is it?
So the SSID is Pideli and the password is Pideli rocks.
Okay. So this is how you can do stuff. So let me go and show you. So I'll just let's say I just create a folder called test. Okay. Now, if Vagrant is installed, you will do an auto tab. It will come. So if I do init, just I have not given any OS type or anything. So what this does is, if you do an ls now, you'll find. Sorry, I did not. Go to that folder. So I am under test. Okay. If I give init, it will say that it has created a Vagrant file. So let's see that there is only one file. So if you look at it, I mean this is written in Ruby, so you don't have to know Ruby to know this to work on this. But this is just a first file that you get. This is the only file that you will have to play with. So this is the default file. The reason that I created, I shown this is, I have created a different Vagrant file for our demo purpose, which has lot many things. But this is the basic thing. So if you look at it, the kind of syntax it has is this is also indentation based. There is no kind of braces and all that. So what this does is it says that since we have not mentioned anything, it will create a VM named base. Okay. Now it will search for this base image when you actually
trying to start the VM, okay, which is the next command which we will see. But this is the format. So now, if you come here, if you read below, you can actually, if you uncomment this, you'll find, you can configure the network, right? Network can be of 3 types in Vagrant. You can give a static IP, you can give a bridged IP, or you can do a port forwarding. So what port forwarding is, that is the best thing that I found. That is, you can specify a particular port on that VM to be mapped with a particular port on your server. So like, let's say, if I say configure VM network port forwarding 80, that means 80 port of VM, or whatever VM we will create next, would be mapped to the 8080 port of the server. So whatever you do on your server, on your laptop, on 8080 port, it would be actually running on 80 port of that VM. Okay? So this is the first thing that you have to do. You have to create a directory, get inside that directory. First command that you have to fire is vagrant init. Okay? So what we can do is, I'll just so here we already have a Vagrant file. Okay, we will open that. So this is a, again a Ruby file. So what we are going to do with this, in this demo is, as of now, you can think of that we will create around 7 VMs. Okay, around 7 VMs, not 7, 8 VMs. One would be the management VM, and rest all would be some different VM, which we will discuss when we start the Ansible demo. Okay. So if you read from the first line, these two lines says that this is a global configurations I'm setting. Insert key is false, is that nothing but for the security purpose I did. Otherwise, it will again ask for SH keys to generate and all those stuff. So you have a very good documentation link. I'll give it to you. You can read through that. So the first VM that I'm going to create is VM name ngmt or management VM. Okay. The way I define it is config.vm.define mgmt. Then whatever you do, I give that name. So you can think of that as a function, and then there are the following other methods. Like this particular VM will have this image. Okay. So if you want in Windows, you can just search Windows in that box link, paste it here. Now I want this VM to be named as ngmt. I want this to have a private network with an IP of this. Okay. I want this VM to be provisioned from VirtualBox. So why I have to explicitly mention here, just in case your laptop has VirtualBox and VMware Workstation as well. So Vagrant will see both. So where he will create that VM. So that's why you need to give this. If you don't give it, it's completely fine. Okay. Now you can actually go to the hypervisor and change the configuration like this. I restrict the memory to only 256 MB. Okay. If you do not give this, it will take the default whenever you go to VirtualBox and create. Then what I am doing here is, for this particular VM, I am actually, after the provisioning, I am actually telling this this VM to run a script called bootstrap, which is there in the same directory from where I will be running this command. Okay, so that's what I was saying. Through Vagrant, you can not only install a VM or configure a VM, you can actually install some software after provisioning. Okay, so we'll see what this script contains. So this script contains few of the softwares which we will be using for Ansible demo next. Okay, so this is the management VM. You can think of this as a management VM. Okay. Once we fire this, then we will not do anything from our laptop. We will go to this VM and then do the rest of the things. Then I am going to create another VM called LB, which is load balancer, and then I'll be creating 6 more VMs. So here I'm running a 2 loops, like so that I don't have to type each and every time same thing, okay? So, because I want 6 web servers. So, what I'm going to do in the demo is, it's pretty simple. I want to create a web server with 6 web servers, okay? And a load balancer on top of it, okay? And then we will, install Nginx, okay, web services, and then we will see that how this all works. And I will create the whole infrastructure within 1 hour, whatever time we have here, okay? So think about it, to do this, how much time it would take if you have to go and do this all manually, okay? So this is what we are going to do. Now I am in my laptop, okay? And we are creating 6 web server VM, 1 load balancer, and 1 management server. So once I configure all these VMs, I'll go to the management server, then do rest of the things from there, okay? So to give you 6 web server, 1 load balancer VM, and this another VM would be my management VM, okay? And my laptop is here, okay? So I'm still here. I have not created anything there. Okay? So now, see, this is my virtual box. No VMs is created now, right? I'm just minimizing it just for GUI purpose. So now I am inside this folder. I have these files, okay? Vagrant is the file which I have shown you, and Bootstrap is the shell script which I will be invoking after that management VM fire up, like I've shown you in the Vagrant file, right? So now if you see that what is the content of that, it's nothing much actually. I'm going to install Ansible, which is our next demo. So I'm not installing Ansible on my laptop, okay? I'll be installing Ansible. Then I'll be copying few files from my laptop to that VM, and then I'll be editing the etc host name with the IP and the names. Okay, I mean I have 6 VMs, but I started testing it for 10 VMs, so that's why it's still web 9. Okay, but this I'm doing so that I don't have to type the IP once I get to that VM. Okay, is that clear till now? Yeah. So now, what you have to do is, you just have to run Vagrant up. When you run Vagrant up, it will check in that same present directory, is there any Vagrant file available or not. If it is there, then it will go and read from there. Okay. So I have mentioned that there is an image Ubuntu, right? So it will download that image and install it. But just to save time, I actually downloaded that image or box. So where it actually stores I have downloaded 2 VMs. Okay, both are Ubuntu but different variants. Okay, so there is a Vagrant command as well to show that. Okay, you can see that, but actually it is taking from that folder, this folder.
Sorry to interrupt.
Box. Yeah.
First you downloaded the box. Box is also specifically for a specific image, and then you are downloading the image. Isn't there any concept of general box?
No. So these are general box. These are whatever these boxes are. This Ubuntu and all that. These are general box. It's not I have created. I've just downloaded from the internet.
So in this Ubuntu box, I can't install Windows, but so it's not a generic box, no?
Inside which Ubuntu? This is the VM that we will be creating with this image. So let's say you have virtual box. So this is what I'm trying to do is, this is a virtual box. I'm going to install, let's say in this virtual box you have to install Ubuntu. What you will do, you'll create a VM, download the ISO of Ubuntu, right? So through Vagrant, I don't have to download that ISO. Even I don't have to download the box also. The moment I run Vagrant up, I can download it automatically. Just 1 second. But just for this, to save time for the download, I downloaded first place. Okay, that's what I did. Yes, sir.
So this Ubuntu will be on the host. So you showed us host machine, a load balancer, and the 6 VMs that you will create.
Oh, the operating system we will be using will be all Ubuntu.
Ubuntu.
All
but
Ubuntu.
host machine is not operating.
Okay. Oh, okay. I got it. So host means my laptop. My laptop.
But you said your laptop is outside. There is a VM host machine.
Yeah, management machine. Management.
Yes. That is not dependent on any.
No,
No, it can be anything. It can be anything. I use Ubuntu for all, so that I don't have to install multiple boxes in my laptop. But you can have anything. Okay. So now let's go back to. Back there. Up. So now what it would do is it will go read that Vagrant file. So in that Vagrant file, it has seen this VMs. Okay. MGMT, LB, and 6 web VMs. Okay. So now it will start all these VMs. You don't have to go back. So I'm not going there in the VirtualBox. If you now open that VirtualBox, you can see actually it's running. Okay. So it will take a few minutes. So if you remember, in the management VM, I have created a bootstrap shell script, right? So it will also go and install. So I am not going inside that VM, okay? But once this command comes out, if you go to that VM, you will have Ansible, everything is installed. Similarly, you can have any script you can write, or actually you can invoke a single command as well, okay? Whatever you want to do, you can do, right? So by the time this gets over, I will just go back to the PPT.
Have you invoked the bootstrap management on this right now?
No, you just have to edit that Vagrant file. So that is the only thing in Vagrant you have to do. So to keep it simple, you install any hypervisor, VirtualBox or VMware Workstation, you install Vagrant and just come to the command prompt, okay? And then you just edit your Vagrant file, that's all. And from where you will get the Vagrant file, first command Vagrant init or initialization. You will get that Vagrant file. Then you edit it. Whatever you want to do, you do it there. That is the only thing that you have to edit. Yeah?
Yes, and it creates file only or does certain configuration? If I copy file from somewhere, will it work without going in it?
Without? Okay, that Vagrant file. You can take my Vagrant file and
init command. Will it do certain configuration? Or
No. If you simply run Vagrant init enter, it will simply create the file which we have seen in the first place, right? Nothing, just paste.
So if I copy file from somewhere else, it will work for me.
You can copy in the folder. I have a Vagrant file. You just simply copy it and run it. But if you run that command like Vagrant init and then the image name, when it will create that Vagrant file, it will put that image in place of base, which we have seen in that file.
So for running it's like Vagrant.exe?
Sorry, Vagrant.exe because it's Windows. If you do run on Mac or Ubuntu, it's just Vagrant. Okay.
Where did you define how much space that guest machine is going to take? And
so I did not mention that. So the only thing I mentioned is the memory.
Yeah,
256. Similarly, you can configure whatever you want
in the Vagrant file.
in the Vagrant file itself. Yes.
You got these ISOs from Vagrant's website.
Yeah, this is not ISO. They call it as box. That is a stripped down version of the ISO. It's not a fully blown RHEL. Like let's say if you go to RHEL Red Hat website, download the RHEL ISO and install it on your VirtualBox. And similarly, you go to Vagrant Box website and search RHEL, you will find some funky name, and then you create a VM from there, and then you run few commands, like especially in the proc file system, you will not find everything. So it is stripped down thing.
So is it's a custom made?
Custom made, yes.
So you cannot make your own custom thing and
Yes,
get it
you
to.
can. You can. So how you can? Let's say you want everything from your you have to define. So first place what you can do is you can download that ISO, create that VM manually, then you can create a box out of it. That is one way to do it. Another way, you download and create a VM like this, keep on installing whatever you want, whatever package you want, and after that you create a box out of it. It's actually based on snapshot. The moment you create a box, it will take a snapshot of whatever image it has. Okay? The command is Vagrant package.
So you make your own name, custom name.
Yes, you make your own name, right? And then you move that box in that folder where that boxes are all are there. That's correct. And that's how it is being used in the field. People do not just download and use it. You will not find all the commands are running and all those things.
It's like a snapshot that you're taking of a particular.
Yeah, if you want to create a box of your own, which customized thing, like let's say Ubuntu, which we have downloaded, it will not have utility like HTOP maybe, which I use rampantly. So I don't want to create every time VM and install HTOP. I'll create a VM, install HTOP, then create a box out of it. Sure. Yeah. So
just quickly cover this. So we did that, the last command, vagrant up, so which is now making the VMs up. Then the next command would be simply vagrant SSH. So one thing that happens is when you do a vagrant up, it creates a user called vagrant in that VM, which is a passwordless SSH. So there, after that, when you do a vagrant SSH, it will directly go to that VM without asking for username or password. Okay. Now in our config file, I have a lot of VMs, 6 web VMs, 1 management VM, and 1 load balancer (LB). Right. So if I run vagrant SSH, it will not work because it won't know that which VM the user wants to do an SSH. So for my case, I have to run vagrant SSH space whatever VM name, web 1, web 2, web 3, whatever. Okay. But let's say you are in your vagrant file contains only 1 VM, then you can simply run vagrant SSH. It will go to that VM. Fine. That's all. You have to do exactly this. You don't have to do anything. Okay. So now there are more commands. Like you can check the status of the VM. You can halt the VM. You can reload. So what reload means? Let's say you make that VM up and then you change something in the vagrant file. Maybe some script you want to run or something. Then you can just do a reload. It will check that vagrant file. If there is any change, you push that. Okay. And this is what you were asking about, that package. If you want to make a package, so this is the command, vagrant package. Okay. Whichever VM is running, it will take the snapshot of that. Then again, you have to do a vagrant in it. That's it. Okay. So we'll go to Ansible later, but what I want to tell you something is, there is one more thing. See, these all our VMs are now up. See, there is not every just till Web 5 has come. Web 6 has to come, and then Web 6 is now coming up, and that's all. That's the last VM which is pending. So one more thing that that happens is when you do this is maybe it would be useful for you. When you share files, okay, from your laptop to the VMs or from VMs to laptop, it's very difficult, right? Yes. It's very difficult. Here, I did not do anything, right? In the vagrant file, I did not mention anything to share or anything of that sort, right? By default, every VM will have a folder called under root vagrant, which will contain the same files which is there on that present directory, which is here.
Which side?
Here, from where you have run that vagrant. All these files. Okay, it will be there. Now you change here anything, you go and run there, it will work. So you don't have to worry about copy pasting from here to there to here, nothing like that. Okay. So now all the VMs are up. How can I see vagrant status? Okay, after vagrant, if you do a tab, it doesn't complete. You just have to type.
Sorry, can you repeat the last part? You said the automatic share folder is set up for every VM.
Yeah, I'll show you. Okay, so all the VMs are up. I'll just hold on to this question, I'll show you. Okay, now what I want to do is, I said that this is the stuff that I want to show you for vagrant. Okay. Next, whatever we do would be Ansible. So I'll tell you what Ansible is, whatever I learned in last 1 month. So this is what vagrant is. Okay, at a very high level. Now you can I can give you some links, you can explore more. But this is what the problem that is solved. Now I'll do vagrant sh mgmt. Okay, so if I do just vagrant sh, this would mostly fail because I have not mentioned the target, because I have a lot of machines. It will go and check whenever you run any vagrant command. It will go and check that vagrant file only. That is the only file it checks. So I have to give the VM name if you have multiple VMs. Okay. See, it will not ask you ask for username and password. I think it's in Windows, it's a little slow, but I tried in other machines, it's pretty fast. Okay. Though I have a good amount of memory. See, now I am in.
What did you just say?
Sorry?
Vagrant
Vagrant SSH. Then the VM name. Yes. Okay. Now,
see, there is an up and running VM where you have not gone to your hypervisor anywhere. You are still in your command prompt of your laptop, right? Now, if you see, there is a folder called Vagrant, right? It got created. See, this is the same file which is there in my laptop presently. So let's say if I do I just create a file, okay? The test file, yeah. I'm doing an exit. Where I am now? I am in my laptop, right? See, the test file is here, right? So now let's say I remove it. Let's say touch. Windows. Test 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now I am again going to that VM. CD Vagrant. So if you're a developer, mostly I think I've seen that developers or test engineers, they're very. This is very useful, right? You don't have to hop around your hypervisor and your laptop or VM laptop. It will be there in all these systems, not only one system, all the VMs. You can restrict that also in the Vagrant file. There is a config file. In the Vagrant there is a config dot. In the global setting, you have to make those flags as false. It will not do that. A lot of people do not want to share everything, right? So this is how you do it. Okay.
So basically what you're saying is like the contents got copied.
Yes, everything. So this is the file. If you do a mount, you can see that. You'll see that this is mounted on VirtualBox. Okay, this is what you do in your VirtualBox. If you do share, mount a shares like that in VMware as a vSphere as well. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Now, so we have now our VMs. So what that environment looks like. Environment looks like this. So management VM is that one. Okay. Then we have load balancer VM, and these are the web VMs. But we have not configured anything. There is no difference between all these VMs, right? Except the host name. Now what we are going to do is we are going to use Ansible. So what Ansible is? So Ansible is actually it's an automation tool which is predominantly used in DevOps. Have you heard about DevOps? This is from DevOps, yeah. Okay. So that's a methodology, or you can say it's a principle. It's not like it comes with a certain amount of tool. If you have it in your company can call your IT team as WebOps. It's not like that. It's just a methodology. Okay. I'm also not very sure about all that. I'm not part of that. But this software is pretty much used in those kind of environments. Okay. So with Ansible, what you can do, like with Vagrant, you can create VMs, right? And we did that. Now with Ansible, you can actually remotely do stuff on your systems. So when I say remotely, it doesn't work in server-client model where you have an agent in your server and another agent in your client running and they will talk to each other. No, it just uses simple SSH. Okay, so let's say if I give you a task like if my manager says, okay, Suman, can you just check if all the servers in our data center are up and running? So let's say there are 1,000 servers. I cannot go. Visually I can check. I cannot go and do a ping for all 100 servers, right? I have to write a small script or something like that. So those kind of things. This is one example. Second example, you might have to install one particular patch to all the servers. Okay, that you can use through Ansible. Okay, you can do everything, almost everything, remotely from your system, provided you have a Ethernet connectivity. Yes, sir.
So can I think of Ansible as something like CF engine or Puppet?
Yes. So now Puppet, Ceph, or Ansible, they all are kind of competitor or same thing. And there are better use cases for Puppet, better use case of Ansible. I don't know about the other two, but you can have it. Okay, but all are same. Yes, same in the sense they all cater to the same business problem. Yeah. Okay. So what we are going to do is, if you remember, we ran that. We ran that bootstrap script, right, which installed Ansible on my management server. So I am in my management server. If you write Ansible, it is working, right? It's installed. If I do a tab, it's installed, right? So Ansible, you can now do anything to other VMs from here through Ansible. Okay. So let me show you this. Okay, first of all, I want to show you something. If I do an SSH2, let's start with ping. Okay? One of the VM was Web1, right? Pinging. All the VMs will ping, right? All are pinging. Now, if I do an SSH2 Web1, it's asked for fingerprint, right? So I don't want to. I really don't want to do that. So what I can do is, Web 1, Web 2, Web 3, Web 4, Web 5, Web 6, and the load balancer, there is a server called LB, right? I'll just redirect them to, what is the file? Known host, right?
Yeah. Underscore host.
S, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, now if I do SSH, it is just asking for password, right? Now I don't want this to happen. Like I don't want password. It should not ask password every time. So now we will use Ansible. So before that, what I want to show you is, so how it works is, in Ansible, there is only one file called inventory. Only one file. Just like in Vagrant, there is a file called Vagrant file. In Ansible, there is only one file called inventory. What it contains? It contains the host name. Okay, it just contains the host name. That's all.
So it's residing in the home directory of the user?
Which one? Yeah, no, I have copied it. In the Bootstrap program, I have copied it. But you can have it anywhere. In your system, anywhere you can have it. Okay, but by default it will be installed in the predefined place. Okay, but you can have it provided you have that path. So now if you go to that inventory file, you will see something like this. So what the syntax it follows is, anything under square bracket is grouping. Okay, so let's say if I want to do a bunch of stuff on all the web servers, I can simply use web. Later on, we'll see. If I want to use a single VM, I can do web1, something like that. Okay, so you can group it or you can just put it in the name. So if you look at the first is the VM name and the group name is same. So whether you run it on, when you say LB, it will be executed for all the VM that is mentioned in this under LB group. Okay, now I want to show you the PPT first. So first place, Vagrant, you can execute ad hoc commands, like one command to each VM, like that. You can either do that way, or you can again write something called Ansible Playbook, which is a collection of tasks, which will do everything for all those hosts, whichever you have mentioned in your inventory file. So ad hoc task would be something like this. Let's say I want to check all my VMs are up and running or not, or all my systems are up and running or not. I simply run Ansible space all. All means go to that inventory file, whatever VMs are mentioned there, go to each and every VM and run ping. So -m is nothing but stands for module. So this is a terminology which Ansible uses. Okay, so everything is modular. So you can go to the Ansible website and search for modules, whatever you want to do. Let's say you want to install something in your Ubuntu VM. So how do we install apt app, right? You just go and search for app module. In there, you will find, in that case, you have to give -m app. So those all modules are installed by default when you install Ansible. But if there is any other module which it's not there, you can download it, just like any package you download. Okay. So these are ad hoc commands. Like the second command is web group. Like if you have a inventory file and if you have a group called web group, it will run on all the web VMs which are under web group. Like under the curly braces, whatever VMs you mentioned. Like you can actually run a particular command. Like when you say all, it will take all the VMs. Okay, and then -a stands for one-line command. Okay, or you can say argument. Okay, so we'll do all these things. Okay, so this is one way of using Ansible through ad hoc commands. What is the other way? Other way is using playbooks. Okay, what is playbook? Playbook is a YAML file that is also have a particular syntax. It's pretty easy. So for you, just for your information, Ansible is developed on based on Python. It's developed. It is based out of Python, not like Vagrant, which is developed using Ruby. Okay, so you can actually contribute there by making new modules, and you can push it. That's also open source. Recently, Red Hat acquired this company. Okay, Ansible. So without going to the PPT, I will show you this. Now, first I'll show you Ansible. Let's say I want to ping the LB host, so I will say ping. Okay, it did not go through. Why? Because it asked for password, but I have not given the password, right? So I have to say ask for password. So it says like this, success. Okay. Now, one thing to remember is this is not a simple ping like ping LB. This is not equivalent to ping LB. This ping is using ICMP protocol, right? But this ping is actually not using ICMP protocol. How do you see it? I think it just I hope it is there. Yeah. See this? There is a process. It actually goes that inside that VM. That's why it asks for password. Otherwise, to ping, you don't need to log into that system, right? So there is some additional stuff that Ansible does. Okay, so that's why after this ping, if you check this, you will see that there is a session. It remains for some seconds and then it goes off. Okay, so this ping is not same as what normal ping is. I mean ICMP ping is. So similarly, you can run anything like, let's say you want to run a command. Okay, you get the name. Right? These are ad hoc things you can do. Yes.
So suppose in my web server have a SSL certificate,
right,
which requires me to decrypt it before running Apache, for example, right? How do you send that password in?
We will do that. We will do the SSH next only using Ansible playbook. What we will do is, I'll tell you what we will do. We will generate the RSS certificate on this system, on this management server. Okay. Then using Ansible, we'll push the public key to all the VMs.
Okay.
Okay. In that case, after that, I don't have to give the password every time. Is that what you want, or you want something else?
So I'm asking if because for the private key for decrypting the SSL certificate, it's encrypted, right? The private key itself requires a password.
Yes.
To decrypt.
That is
talking about HTTPS.
Okay, you are talking about TLS version 3 or
Yes, yes, yes.
okay.
While
Yeah.
being used for a web server, right?
Mhm.
So you're
Yeah.
using TLS security. Now your private key requires a password to unlock.
Yeah, this is I will be making this VMs for web services. I'm not using this. I'm not an end user. I'm developing. I'm making this 6 servers as my web server where I'll be running
Yeah,
Nginx
so
or something.
whenever you start Apache,
Uh-huh.
you have a SSL
Right,
security
certificate, yeah.
certificate.
Mm-hmm.
It requires you to enter password
Mm-hmm.
to unlock the private key so that the certificate can be used by Apache.
Mm-hmm.
So that is
So-
like asking for password within the VM itself.
That this Ansible will do because you use the username through which it goes and log into the each system. So we use Vagrant to create this VMs, right? So Vagrant is a user for all the VMs. Okay. So when you do that, it will use that password automatically. We will see that now.
No, but SSH password can be different from your private key
Yeah.
password.
Then you have to configure that. Then you have to edit that Ansible config file and you have to edit all those things.
So it's possible to.
Yeah, it is possible. It is very much possible.
So I mean, the only idea is that there is some kind
Yeah,
of password
yeah.
which is required
Right.
within the VM itself,
Yeah, yeah,
which
yeah.
is not the SSH password.
Yeah, I got it. Now I got it. Yeah, you can do it.
Okay.
Okay, now, so this is the way to do an ad hoc command. Okay. Now, what we will do is we'll do a passwordless login to all the systems. So for that, I need to have a SSH key generator, right? So this is all because to show you a demo that how Ansible can be used to manage multiple systems without going to all the systems. Okay. Now, if you see, this is my I don't have that RSA keys, right?
Minus the RS. Minus space RS.
I can keep some blocks there also, not required. Okay. So what I did is, I just simply create an RSA key. So now, this public key should be there in all the VMs, right? This public key I have to push to all the VMs. So I have created a Ansible playbook. Why? Because now I have to run it on multiple systems and I want to show you how you can do it through Ansible playbook. So playbook, this is the playbook which I have created. Okay, I just do a VI. So this starts with any YML file you will find in the internet or search it or you find in any of your friend's system. We'll start with C dash. Okay. Next is it says host colon space whatever host you want. I want all, just like there Ansible all we have given, right? Here you can mention the host name or you can mention the host group. Then I am saying, do you need sudo access? Yes, I need. Let's say you want to copy it or something like that. Gather facts is when you run Ansible, it actually gathers the fact from all the VMs like VM name, IP, DNS server details, everything. So once the Vagrant command gets over, it just purges out. Okay. So I don't want that because this is pretty light, a playbook. So I want that not to happen. So you can specify this. Then remote user is the Vagrant user. So Ansible uses SSH, right? So we have to give which user you want, my system to log into all the VMs. So that's the Vagrant. Vagrant is the user. Then comes the task. So now here I have only one task, but similarly you can have multiple tasks. Okay. So what is the task? I'm saying name colon. So this is in plain English, which will come out when you run this in your console, so that people understand that what is happening. So there I'm saying that installing SSH key. Okay. You can write anything. Okay. Suman is installing SSH key, something like that. The next part is important. So this is the module. Okay, where we have used ping. Similarly, this is for authorized key. What this will do is, this also have a syntax. Okay, you can go to the documentation and you can find it. So what this does is, it will say, search for the key, where I will find it in this system. Where is the file? There is a file. Okay, and then this is automatically will copy it to all the VMs and make sure that state is present. Okay, state is present means it will go first search for the file in your system, then it will go and copy it in the destination VM, which VM, wherever the hosts are, right, in the inventory file. It will make sure that it is there. It might happen that copying failed due to some reason, right? Then it will the command output will be failed. Okay, this is what this will do. So what we can do is, now for ad hoc command we used Ansible, right? For playbook we will use Ansible playbook. Okay. After that simply the playbook name. Now this is the first time I am running this. Okay. So this will also need password. Next time onwards it will not need password, but this time it would need. See, this is how it will tell you what it is doing. These are the tasks. We have only one task, but we have mentioned all the hosts, right? So it has done in web 1, web 2, web 1, web 6. So this is not in order that you mention it in the inventory file. It does all at a time. Okay. Then it says this is important. All are okay. Status is changed. That means now if I again run it, if I run the same command again. Okay, this time I will run without this password, okay? So this time it will work. Status is okay, but changed is 0. That means it go and checks that it already sees that it's there. So it will not unnecessarily copy it. It's just like you're trying to install a software which is already installed. You get some error, you put some error handler or something like that, right? When you code. So here you don't have to do all that. Fair enough? Now, if you do an SSH to any server, it will go directly. Okay. So what we did, we actually so after coming to this management VM, what we did, we generated a key, and then we used Ansible to copy that key using authentication key method, and now we have set up and password with LSH. Yes, sir.
In the real world, we would just create the image with the key pre-configured into the VM, right?
Right. So this, for the demo purpose, I've shown you that how to do that. But yes, this will be already there. What I'm going to show you next, which is the actual thing like creating web server and all that, that would be something a real kind of application. But just to show how like you can run, my objective is to show you Ansible. You can run it through ad hoc commands, single line commands, or you can use through playbooks. Okay, now. But that's a very valid thing. So this is not actual use case. Like this is not a very actual use case, right? You can do it. I mean, when you create a VM, at that time only through Vagrant also you can do this, right? But this is just to show you that how you can do things using Playbook. Now.